children of the night. What music they make.
They're all gonna laugh at you!
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
What's up?
I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash you open.
It's time to nut up or shut up. And on this show, we don't ever shut up, so I guess we're just going to nut up. Welcome to Final Guys, everybody. I'm Jack, and I'm with my buddies, Jason and Hunter. What's going on, fellas?
I don't know how far I should go with this nutting up.
Oh, you got to go all the way.
Do I keep my pants on for this?
Actually, with you, I would prefer if you shut up.
Okay, fine. I'll just sit there.
I really don't want to see you. I don't want to see you nut up.
Is it cold in the serial killer attic? Is that why you're wearing the hoodie?
Yes, it is cold. It's cold and rainy.
Looks like there's a lot of insulation there.
There is zero. This hoodie is my insulation right now. This show's going to be interesting come January.
You got to get a space heater.
Could probably set fire to the place.
All right, what's new before we get into everything? Anything new on the author front with you guys?
No releases yet. Hopefully in a week or two. But I did put out a new So Bad It's Good on the legendary Disco Godfather.
Oh god,
it's a pretty good one. Audra, who's used to be in the chat a lot, I miss you, Audra. She sent it to me a while ago on Blu-ray, and we finally got around to it, and it is unreal. I mean, it is unreal. So that's fun.
I can't wait to watch that one.
Yeah. So that's out. That's up on my YouTube channel, or I think it's on the front page of my website now.
All right.
Well, we posted our Halloween episode of Monster Men today.
Yeah, baby.
Nice.
So in this one, we're drinking, sampling pumpkin ales and telling stories from all the different horror conventions we went to, and
Fat Shazam.
regretfully telling stories that are now out there for the world.
Yeah, we might have wanted to edit one of those.
Nice. I need to watch that.
And Hunter, you got a Slash out.
Slash comes out. Today's the 22nd. It comes out the 24th. My first full-length novel release of the year. I don't think I've ever had a year that I've waited that long.
Oh, what's it called?
Slash.
Oh.
Like the guitarist.
Who's that through?
Or Slasher. Flame Tree Press. So it's going to be in hardcover, paperback, ebook, audiobook, all coming out at the same time.
Flame Tree's where Don Daria is now, right?
It sure is.
Right, I should have known. Why even ask?
My buddy. He can't get away from me. I'm like an infection on him.
Well, one other thing. If you follow me on Instagram, I don't post on Instagram all that much, but when I do, it's usually stupid shit that I manage to accomplish. My wife and I are basically becoming professional pumpkin carvers at this point.
Holy crap. That was really, you did that?
Yeah, I did the Eric Draven. No, we find basically stencils online that we, put on them, but it can take hours to do these. But they come out looking pretty awesome. So I did the Crow, and she did E.T., and the E.T. one just looks ridiculous. I mean, she's really good at it. So you should check them out. They're cool.
I thought you hijacked someone else's photo.
No, and I was pretty in the bag while doing it too. So,
damn, that was good.
All right.
I'm impressed.
It's already ruined by the rain, but
Yeah, well, it was good for a while.
I got one day out of it.
Sucks. Now it looks like the Crow when he's dead.
Yeah, now it's in my garbage
can. All right, you guys ready for some horror news?
Yes, please.
Sure.
This is going to be quick.
That's what she said.
All right, so we heard that Sam Raimi's not done with The Evil Dead quite yet, but there is more Sam Raimi news. It turns out that he is going to be working on a yet-to-be-titled horror film for Columbia Pictures. There's very little details about this. However, it is going to be a thriller set on an island. That's all we know.
That's a lot.
All right.
So this is like his return to horror. He has not done much since, like, Drag Me to Hell.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah, he
did Oz the Great and Powerful.
I never watched that.
Why?
Yeah.
It didn't look interesting, so I just didn't watch it.
Look, I didn't like Wizard of Oz as a kid, so as an adult, I'm definitely not stepping into that world.
I was in the Wizard of Oz play when I
What
was
did you play?
in first grade. I was the Scarecrow. It was
That
gonna
makes
say,
sense.
You were probably too tall to be a munchkin even back then.
I sprouted all in 1 year, so I was a pretty small kid actually. Now I continue to grow out, so it hasn't stopped since puberty. But
I just figured the absence of a brain would make you just perfect.
I've never heard that joke before. No one has ever said that to me.
I bet they haven't.
Son of a-
First.
So anyway, yes, I'm glad he's finally back. It's been, 10 years? 12 years?
Just remember what the wizard said to the Tin Man when he gave him the heart. Hearts will never be practical until they can be made unbreakable.
Oh,
Good night.
Wow.
I almost want to cry.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Next piece of news. As we all know, The Craft is getting a reboot.
Yeah.
There are a bunch of young, nubile actresses cast. I don't know any of them.
Is this
However,
a Me Too moment?
It's not a Me Too moment. It's an X-Files moment.
Okay.
David Duchovny has been added to the cast.
Speaking of young and nubile,
Really? Yeah. Is he going to do a
So this could go a
Californication
total
on them?
Californication way.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
cool. I actually hadn't thought of the guy since the X-Files. Has he been doing anything? That's good news.
Yeah. What else? What else does he have to do? Really?
Yeah.
He's probably
He
having lots
just-
of sex,
You just be Duchovny.
right? Which was, that show was his life. So
Ooh.
God bless him.
Duchovny and so is this? I can't remember. Is this not a remake? Right. This is like a semi-sequel, same universe kind of thing. I can't remember.
I don't know. This article calls it a reboot. Oh, here's the synopsis. A high school outcast who falls into a high school outcast who falls into friendship with 3 other young women and begins experimenting with witchcraft. They unleash a power that at first seems to solve problems in their lives, but slowly consumes them with unforeseen costs.
That sounds like
Sounds like a remake.
I was just wondering who
It
he could
does.
be in it, because I don't remember a character like him in the.
I bet you he plays a teacher that one of them has a crush on. That's my prediction.
All right, that's a good prediction actually.
You'll think it'd be a teacher with
Yeah, he tries to
gropey
sleep with
hands?
one of them.
Has to.
I think I'm going to take my prediction further. They're going to put a love spell on him.
Oh,
Oh,
interesting. Little creepy Duchovny.
It wasn't me. It was the spell.
I don't know. If I'm wrong, I'm losing.
None of us will remember this prediction.
true.
Anyway,
Or this movie.
The last piece of news concerns food.
all right.
I like food.
Last year, Burger King put out a black hamburger or Whopper that had a black bun.
Yeah.
This year, they're selling ghost Whoppers. They go on sale on the 24th, same day as Slash.
Oh, hand in hand.
And
What?
let's see.
What makes it a ghost whopper? You can't find them eat. It's invisible.
Yeah, right? You eat too many and you become a ghost. The thing that makes it a ghost burger is a special white cheddar cheese flavored and colored sesame seed bun.
Oh, so a white bun. Oh, well, that's good because the black buns were making everyone run to the doctor because they had black stools, and everyone thought they had colon cancer.
So now they're going to have like that old dog poop look to them.
Wow. Riveting.
Now, this is the same company that earlier this year did a upside down burger for Stranger Things where they just put the bottom burger on the top and the bottom bun on the bottom.
Just
They made it
dumb.
upside.
Dumb.
So their marketing people are just,
They're scraping the
low-hanging
bottom of the
fruit.
barrel here.
Fruit has nothing.
Have you guys had the Impossible Whopper yet?
I haven't been in a Burger
No.
King in years.
I went there to try it, and a reviewer said it best. It tastes just like a regular Whopper, just as shitty. But literally, it's almost impossible to tell it's not meat. I give it credit for that.
Really?
But it gave me the same horrible gas, same terrible feeling of just having done something wrong. Like when I eat Burger King, I feel like I've hit and run a child like an hour later. This creeping guilt and Just
The only time I
considering my
eat stuff like
mortality.
that is when I'm on the road and I stop at a rest stop or something, and there's
Yeah.
nothing else.
And rest stop Burger Kings are the best.
Welcome
Yeah.
to Final Guys Fast Food Podcast, where we
Hey,
I'm gonna skip the Ghost Whopper, but if anybody out there tries one, go to our Facebook page or Twitter and let us know what you think.
I'm going to try one. I'm going to take one for the team here.
couldn't care less.
Excellent.
White dog poop.
All right, that's enough news. Let's talk about what we watched this week.
We have such sights to show you.
All right.
We have drinking rules. I forgot to mention he got him in there in time, if you want them.
He did?
Oh, what are the drinking words?
Jack. Everyone should drink. When Jack says zombie, herd, or Elvis. When Hunter says first, white, or Woody. When I say Halloween, hippie, or Murray. And the bonus words are original, stone, and nut. And apparently we've said nut like 4 times already by his count.
And white. We're banging out the white, too. This is awesome. How did he know?
Yep. He knows because he's watched 126 episodes of this. And he knows us better than our significant others.
True.
Well, I'll indulge him by saying that I've been to Graceland and seen where Elvis lived.
Oh.
So this movie had a special place for me.
You're pretty special. Not many people have been there.
All right, Jason, you have more stuff than everybody else. So what'd you watch?
I'm happy to say I'm rounding out the Halloween series. I am done. So to get there...
Wait,
well, I'm not doing the remakes because I've watched those not that long ago. And the one from last year I'm not going to watch. So of the original canon, it is complete.
Oh, okay.
And first up was Halloween H2O, which I had not seen since watching it in the theater back in 98, 99, something like that. Well, it's 20 years, so I guess it would have been 98. I remembered thinking it was okay, and yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at now. I mean, from 4, 5, and 6, this is a monster step forward in quality, but it's still not a great movie. It's so much better made just watching it. I mean, the quality, the camera work, the acting. I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis is in it, for God's sake, so it's a huge step up from what everything else was. I think my biggest issue was Michael Myers has maybe 4 kills in the whole thing. Maybe 5.
Yeah.
And there's a good 45 minutes to an hour in there where there's just nothing from him. It's just all about Jamie Lee Curtis's alcoholism and fighting with old Josh Hartnett.
And don't forget Adam Arkin.
Yes.
Her boyfriend.
She's having sex with him or starting to while telling him about her past, which is always a good way to get the juices flowing.
Yeah, baby.
Is this the one with Paul Rudd?
No, that's 6.
Oh, no, that's the other one.
Yeah. This actually has a great cast. It's directed by Steve Miner, who did which Friday the 13th did he do? 2 and 3, something like that? Yeah, 2 and 3. He did House, he did Warlock. So Lake Placid, he's done some good stuff. Honestly, my biggest issue was not enough Michael Myers, and the very end of this movie with Jamie Lee Curtis. The movie's 20 years old, people. If you haven't seen it, bad. When she defeats him, like there's cool fight scenes between them. It's pretty well done. And then she steals a van with his dead body in it because she knows he's not dead. Hits the brakes really hard when she's flying down the road to send him through the windshield. Then runs him off of a cliff with her still in the car, jumps out while it does 87 rolls down the mountain, and then cuts his head off with an axe. It is the dumbest ending to a movie that had been pretty realistic up until that point. It just feels really out of place, almost like they reshot it. But otherwise it's okay. Other than the mask changes 2, 3, 4 times. At one point there was a CG mask. Like, what in God's name was going on there? So it's fine. My biggest question is, and then I'm done with this movie. This takes place 20 years after the second one, right? It ignores 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Hence the 2-0, yes.
What was Michael Myers is basically just a killing machine, right? He does not survive in society. He runs into people, he basically kills them 95% of the time. What has he been doing for 20 years? He just shows up again 20 years later, doesn't have burns, still got the mask, still wearing the overalls. Like, what's he been doing? I never understood that.
I think he was hanging around Crystal Lake.
He dresses up like the Statue of Liberty and stands outside a tax preparation place and does advertisements for them. And he also does that thing like in the Joker movie where he holds a sign out for stereo stores that are going out of business sales and stuff like that. Because he's really good at just standing still.
Is he still wearing the mask while doing all this? Because
it gets people to stop and look at the side of the road.
There you go. So anyway, it's a decent enough movie compared to the rest of the series, except for 1 and 3. I mean, it's brilliant. So, it's fine. It's decent.
All right.
Well, Jack, I watched a movie you'll appreciate. You know Buckout Road in White Plains, New York, right?
Oh, you told me about Buckout Road. We want to go there for Monster Men, don't we?
Buckout Road was so famous growing up. It's an actual road that supposedly way back when 3 witches were burned at the stake there. And since then, several dozen urban legends have been spawned from the road itself. When I was growing up, the big one was the axe-wielding albinos that would come attack you if you honked your horn 3 times at the end of the road. So, and by the way, they didn't come.
Shocking.
You have to throw a ghost whopper out the window and then they'll come.
That's a white one. I heard the director. I think he was on Shockwave's podcast, maybe, but they were talking about the movie, and I'm like, holy crap! They made a movie about Buckout Road. I mean, if you live in Lower New York, I've never heard of infamous. This. Yeah, look it up online. It's a lot. There's so much, and I think part of the problem is trying to how do you coalesce all that into one movie. So what the director said he did, he says, I looked at all of these different legends, and I said I picked 3. I kind of wove them together into this movie. The movie starts out with Danny effing Glover.
Nice.
So I'm thinking this is some movie that somebody made with pocket change. But I'm like, no, I got Danny Glover. 107.
He's too old for this.
When I first saw him, I go, wow, that old guy looks like a half-dead Danny Glover. And then he talked, I'm like, oh, that is Danny. Yeah, he is. So he is a psychiatrist who has been taking care of his grandson ever since the grandson's parents died.
Diplomatic immunity. It's been revoked. Sorry.
No, that would have made it a little bit better. His grandson comes back after time in, I think, the military and boarding schools or whatever. He's an erudite young child. And people in the town of White Plains, as what they call the small town of White Plains. White Plains is sprawling. It's huge. It's a city. It's not a town. They are walking in their sleep to Buckout Road and then hanging themselves or doing various terrible things. They're committing suicide. And if they're not committing suicide, they're dreaming of doing horrible things along Buckout Road. I said, all right, this is cool. I can go with this. There's a cop in it, and Danny Glover treats his daughter for some drama or whatever. And the cop's daughter and the grandson kind of team up to figure out what's going on at Buckout Road.
Wow.
It becomes a mess. There are times my wife looked at me and she goes, this is not a good movie. I'm like, it's not the worst movie. Let's give it a chance. It gets strange. There's like time leaps and they go bouncing from the witches to the albinos to the lady in white. I didn't understand what the hell was going on in this movie. After a while, I just simply gave up. It was fun for a while. It was on Amazon.
Is it free or did you have to rent it?
No, I paid, mother. I paid.
Mother. Did they film it around here, or is it like in Ontario? They're just calling it.
There were some parts that definitely looked like White Plains. My favorite part was when the cop is interrogating the kid, and he turns off the mic and goes, best thing about small towns, privacy. And I'm thinking, White Plains has one of the biggest police forces in courts. Like, they try mobsters in that courtroom.
Really? Has it ever gone to the movies in White Plains? We did that Monster Men at the what that Crazy Wolf Tavern or something there.
Oh yeah. So that I thought that was kind of funny, and I was waiting to see like mountains in the background or something.
Yeah.
But I didn't get that. Buckout Road looked nothing like Buckout Road, at least the way I remember it.
But it didn't look like Jason
But
Takes
it was
Vancouver.
cool. Hell no. It looked better than that. I'll give it that. To me, it was just cool to see a movie made about something that, when I was growing up, we all would freak out about and went there. So for that part, it was cool.
All right.
Excellent. Well, we gotta make an appointment to go there. We've been meaning to do that.
Yeah, just do a show from there. No one's around. Maybe we can get killed by albinos live.
Yeah. Well, then we can go see the Melonheads up in Trumbull. So if the albinos don't get us, the Melonheads will.
So you can start a war between the two.
All right. I watched a movie that I think every horror fan should watch at least once in their life. And I had not watched it probably since like early 90s. I watched Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
I just did that over the summer, I think.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, and then maybe that's what put the bug in my ear to watch it. And I was like surfing around, and I've got it in my queue. And I was looking around and stuff, and I was like, you know what? I got to get this one. It's Halloween season. I get it. And man, I remembered enough of it, but I forgot a lot of it too. And the thing I kind of forgot was Dean Wormer from Animal House is like the mean cop in it. So John Vernon is his name. I was like, hey, Dean Wormer.
Oh, he was awesome.
Man, the clowns in this look awesome.
Great effects.
And there's never been a more adept, accurate title for a movie because it's about killer clowns from outer space. So, meteor hits the ground in the woods, and it is a tent. And when the locals go to investigate, they get killed by clowns, and they go in to this wacky spaceship thing where there's killer clowns with cotton candy cocoons and stuff, and none of the townspeople will believe it. I kept watching this and thinking to myself, I can't believe this movie has not been remade by Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Oh, can you imagine what he'd do to that?
It does have a Tim Burton vibe, right?
And very much. But boy, they do a lot with a very small budget because the interior of that ship is all basically done with like black warehouse space and bright colors.
Yep.
Sets that are like cleverly built and then can be, but are like, it's all plastic and cardboard basically. So listen, it's not the greatest movie in the world, but I think every horror fan should watch Killer Clowns from Outer Space at least once in their life so they can be part of the conversation. And it's a definite good time. One of the things that amused me the most about this, and this is one of the things I kind of forgot because there's so many movies like this in the 80s, but not every movie is like as humorous as this, but the two lead guys and the lead girl are just playing this absolutely straight. They don't make a joke or anything. Mm-hmm. The comic relief is these two other wacky guys who drive an ice cream truck, and they're the super 80s wacky guys.
Yeah, Jim Carrey could have played one of them.
Yeah, like it's that guy who was in all the stuff. He's like, oh, the wacky, that guy with the voice.
Yeah.
They were kind of channeling him. So I don't need to go on much more. My advice is before Halloween, if you're looking for something light and fun, pop in Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
I think that's the second best clown movie ever.
Good
for horror clowns. That Terrifier's one.
It's a fun movie. When I watched it over the summer, I was really pleased with it. It had been a long time, and it's well made. It's shockingly well made.
If you had to sit down choose between either of these two tonight, which would you do? It, 1 or 2, or Killer Clowns?
Tonight, Killer Clowns.
Killer Clowns.
There you go.
1,
that's all we need to
Listen,
know.
if Killer Clowns was 2.5 hours long, I might be like, gee, they could have knocked 20 minutes off this movie.
Exactly. Okay. I do not want to do this, but I have to talk about Halloween Resurrection. The Busta Rhymes, Jamie Lee Curtis, who else is it? Katie Sackhoff is in this, which shocked me.
It was Busta Rhymes? I thought it was Coolio.
No, it's Busta Rhymes. Thomas Ian Nicholas, Tyra Banks. I mean, there's a hell of a cast in this.
Oh yeah, Tyra Banks.
I mean, look, if you've ever wanted to see Busta Rhymes, Kung Fu, Michael Myers, this is your movie. If not, you're probably not going to like this. This is a series killer. First of all, the explanation for how Michael Myers' head was not cut off is hilarious. After Jamie Lee Curtis defeats him, when a paramedic comes, he breaks the paramedic's larynx, then takes his mask off and puts it on the paramedic, and then just walks around holding a butcher knife. You know, hey, this is Michael Myers. He's got to be burned from head to toe, right? Walks around without his mask on. No one knows it's him. They take the paramedic and put him in the van, which then Jamie Lee Curtis steals at the end of H2O. And he just walks away into the woods and disappears for apparently 3 years again until he shows up at a mental asylum where he finishes Jamie Lee Curtis off for good. And then it turns into like a half found footage, half piece of crap Halloween movie. I mean, Starbuck walks around with a camera on her ear, playing a ditz, and you know Tyra Banks is there. She's a thing, and you know Busta Rhymes Kung Fu. It's terrible. So the idea of going to a haunted house and streaming on the internet back in 2002 was a pretty novel idea. There weren't a lot of movies doing it, but they just spit the bit on it. I mean, they find out there's another foundation under the foundation of the Myers house where they chained Michael up when he was a kid or something. I mean, just for the love of God, it's not good. This is not a good movie.
These two movies that you saw this week are the ones that, when they came out, I had no desire to see either one of them, and didn't see them till they came on cable. And I don't even know if I watched them all the way through, because I would start watching it and be like, "This is terrible." And the one you're talking about, I don't think I saw it all the way through until a couple of years ago. I remember like starting it and just like losing interest and walking away and stuff. So at some point, again, like I need to revisit some of these, maybe, but
don't.
No, I saw these in the theater. Was this the one where Jamie Lee had long hair?
Yes, she's in the asylum with long hair. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember she looked good with the long hair.
I couldn't.
That's what I remember.
The only positive from this movie is seeing a young Starbuck, horribly miscast as a blonde ditzy girl, but seeing a young Starbuck is good.
Yeah.
So don't watch this, please. That's my PSA. Stop.
Okay.
Advice taken. Okay, I have been on a Roger Corman kick this Horror-tober. I think I counted. I'm 36 movies in so far.
Wow.
And out of the 36, 7 have been Roger Corman joints. So I've been going on YouTube and just tons of just free, and all his old movies are about an hour and 5 minutes. It's awesome.
Nice.
So I had never seen Not of This Earth, which is from, I think, the late 50s. It's kind of like a horror sci-fi movie. Have you guys ever seen it?
No, I haven't.
I don't think I have. I'd have to see the trailer.
It's about this guy called Mr. Johnson, who one day walks into a doctor's office and goes, "I am here for blood. I request a transfusion." Just weird. And it's basically, this guy is an alien who is here on Earth to gather blood to try to cure some disease that's running through his entire race. So if he has to drain every human of blood, he will. And yeah, he lives in this nice little house. He's got some powers. He wears dark sunglasses, and whenever he takes them off, you hear like this crackling sound, and people go scream and drop dead because he's got like milky eyes, which seems to be enough to do it. This is actually really good, believe it or not. In fact, the print that was on YouTube was clear and it looked good, sounded pretty good.
Is that YouTube?
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
It looks good. That's great.
Yeah, I was surprised because a lot of the ones I watched, like Attack of the Crab Monsters, was terrible. But it's creepy. It's funny because he goes to the doctor for blood, and the doctor says, "Well, I can't just give you blood. I have to test you for your type." And he weaves some spell over the doctor to just give him copious amounts of blood without testing him. And then the doctor assigns a nurse to live with him and take care of him because he's dying. I was like, did this happen in the 50s?
Wow. Okay.
Could you go to the doctor's office and say, I'm really sick? And the doctor goes, hey, just take my nurse. She will live with you. And
this is good.
I don't know what the copay is on something like that.
Jesus Christ. It's going to cost a fortune. I hope you had Medicaid. And the other thing, the cool thing is the alien has in his employ some like young thug who is kind of like his man Friday, who does all his dirty work for him.
His Renfield.
Yeah, exactly. Except instead of eating bugs, he plays around with a gun. Look, Corman made this for $100,000 and made $1 million bucks off this thing. The guy is a master. But like I'm saying, they're cheap movies and they're quick movies, but there's something genuine about them that it's just really cool, and you buy it. It sucks you in, and you buy it. So you can't go
color
wrong.
Black and white.
Black and white, beautiful B&W.
So this is before he came up with his rule about how many naked breasts he has to have in every reel and all that.
Yes. Yeah. So like we get to humanoids from the deep.
Okay, he was still developing his style at this point.
Yeah, in 57, 58, this style would not fly. He wouldn't get this movie made. So
all right.
Yeah.
In fact, the style, I just watched The Man with the X-Ray Eyes this morning. He didn't have that then either. That was 60s. So I guess it took him late 60s to get it.
All right. Well, for my next movie, one of my favorite movies of all time, not just in the horror genre, but of favorite movies of all time, is Young Frankenstein.
Oh.
Now, in general, I like Dracula and vampires more than I like Frankenstein, but I like Young Frankenstein. Like, that's my favorite Frankenstein thing. That and then Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein.
Mm-hmm.
But there's another Mel Brooks horror movie comedy called Dracula Dead and Loving It. That was made in 1995 with Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah, I remember that.
That I never was all that interested in, even though I'm a big Dracula guy, because just the looks of it didn't really look like a Mel Brooks movie. It looked like a Leslie Nielsen spoof movie,
right?
That Mel Brooks was tacked onto. So I remember had seen it maybe all the way through. I don't know. So I decided, you know what? It's been a long time. I need to sit down and just watch Dracula Dead and Loving It. And it's so funny because this is like 11% like rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. Not very popular movie. In hindsight, it's more fun to watch it now than when it came out because there's some really funny parts in it. And Peter McNichol as Renfield is awesome in it. And so just like popping it in to amuse myself, I enjoyed it. Whereas I think back when it came out, I was more like, wow, this is just not up to Mel Brooks standards. It was kind of the tail end of the run.
Yeah.
So I am not going out of my way to recommend this movie to anybody, but if you're looking for something light and that's got, like I said, Peter McNichol as Renfield is just worth the price of admission.
That was my dog losing its mind.
Is that the dog?
Oh, that's Jason sat on his balls again.
Yeah.
Fucker.
And Mel Brooks plays Van Helsing. And there's a couple of lines he has that are really funny. But overall, this is not the best Mel Brooks movie. Young Frankenstein is the one to watch. But I'm happy that I needed something light and fluffy that night that I watched it, and it scratched my itch. So
at this point, he's as old as Dracula.
Yeah, it's because it really is more of a Leslie Nielsen spoof movie than this movie. So.
These are the years he had a fart box in his pocket when he filmed every movie.
I honestly don't remember the movie at all. I remember it coming out. I remember watching it on HBO or something, but I don't remember anything in it. Whereas, I mean, I liked a lot of Leslie Nielsen spoof movies, but I just don't remember this. Like, I can remember Naked Gun stuff, and I even remember, what was that Exorcist one he did? I even remember seeing that, even though it was crap. But I cannot remember this movie.
I don't think I saw this. I think I avoided it.
Well, speaking of movies to avoid, and I swear to God, after this week, I'm going back to only watching things I like.
Jesus Christ!
No,
You like
anything? I swear to God, I like the genre. This isn't the genre, though. I watched Ghostbusters 2016 finally. My buddy talked me into it. I'm going to keep this short and sweet and go on to something else. This movie is the antithesis
not your friend.
of funny. I did not watch this for a long time because I knew I wouldn't like it. Just from the trailers, I knew I wouldn't like it. It was significantly worse than I anticipated. It's just not funny. And I can allow a lot of issues with comedies if they're funny. The movie we're going to talk about soon, Zombieland. If a movie has issues, but it's nailing the comedy, I can let a lot slide. This just doesn't nail the comedy, and it's a freaking shame what they did to Ghostbusters. So anyway, I watched Mindhunter Season 2 on Netflix. God, is this so good?
Yeah.
I don't... Oh, man. Every time I'm like, you know what? I'm going to cancel Netflix. They're just not giving me what I want. I watch something like this. I'm like, I'm going to keep it going because, damn, this is so good.
Suck you right back.
This is the show where they basically go around and interview serial killers when they're developing the terminology and the profiles for serial killers in the FBI in the 70s. At least that was the first season. The second season is basically just a series of podcasts almost. There's no action. It's just conversations, and it's great. This one has a lot more movement, a lot more changing of locations, new characters. They're actually hunting a serial killer in this one, which is very different. And I like the change in dynamic of the show. I think it's amazing. I actually think it's one of the best shows on right now. And I just finished it, and I'm freaking dying for season 3 already.
That's why I went and watched that Unabomber show right after, because after you watch Mindhunter, you're just jonesing for more like FBI procedural. It's so good. Yeah, I liked season 2, I think, better than season 1. The serial killers, the people that casted the serial killers in that show are unbelievable.
I mean,
don't they have the guy who plays Charles Manson in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood playing Charles Manson?
Goddamn, is he good. I don't know that I'd want to be typecast as Charles Manson, but he's good at it. Holt?
Well, it's the guy who plays Dewey in
really?
Justified.
Oh, crap. Yeah, I forgot that. Dewey was great.
Holt McCallney? I don't know how to say his name. He's the guy, he played the Native American in Creepshow 2 who kills the old people. He is so freaking good in this show. It's crazy. I mean, he is just... The dude should be winning awards. He's just absolutely killing it. So if you haven't...
Just think how long it took him to get a
He's the guy
like
you
that.
always see in everything, but you never knew who he was. He was in Fight Club when... who dies? When Meatloaf dies, and they finally start saying his name, and everybody starts chanting his name now that he's dead. He's the guy who starts the chant.
Bitch chits.
He's in Fight Club all over the place. He's in all of... who's the director of Fight Club? Why can't I think of his name? Alien 3. God damn it. Oh.
I know.
Oh,
it's late in the day for us.
I'm regretting having this beer. Fincher, thank you. David Fincher. He's in all of David Fincher's movies. Not always a huge role, but you've seen him through the years. He just looks so different from the Creepshow days. I never recognized him. God, he is brilliant in this. So if you haven't seen Mindhunter, you have to watch it. It's just amazing.
It's on my list, man. It's on my list. All right, I'll be quick. I'm going to finish it up with the book because, it's about reading too. Reading, writing, no arithmetic. We hate numbers. And Jason, I think you read this. Josh Malerman's Black Mad Wheel.
Very unique book.
It's very unique. I think if I pass this by my editor, he'd be like, no.
Yeah, it's very
I don't think you can
different.
do this.
It's the kind of thing you get published when you've done Bird Books.
Yeah. It's the military has detected a sound that's coming out of the desert in Africa that has potential military properties where it's like disarming nukes and weapons and stuff like that. So after sending some troops out and them not coming back or coming back and not bringing anything with them, they decided to enlist a band that was a band when they were in the military, and now they're out there. They have like a one hit out there, and they're a rock band, and they know sound, man. And they pay them a lot of money to go out there and drop them off in Namib desert and find the source of the sound. And the book goes, it's alternating chapters. It's the lead singer of the band. He's in a hospital and every single bone in his body has been broken. And they don't know how it happened and how he's even possibly alive. And then the next chapter would go to the band getting recruited and going to the desert and searching for the sound. The first half of the book I thought was brilliant. I kept going, my God, he's actually pulling this off. This is so strange. And it was so intriguing. But the last third of the book, it got so weird. I finished and I go, I don't even understand what any of this was. I really didn't. And I'm like, well, I'll look this up I'll Google it one day and maybe someone smarter than me can tell me what it is. But it just got so trippy and so far out there. I was like, it just kind of lost the narrative punch that made the first half so good. But he's still a damn great writer.
I'm with you, not in a slightly different way. It wasn't that I didn't like it by any stretch. I didn't even know what to make of it. It was just so different. What a cool freaking idea, though. I mean, I love the idea of that.
Yeah.
I thought it was decent.
No, I like the book. The end, I was like, I don't know what just happened here. I reread the last chapter 3 times. I'm going, I was like, I still don't know. Whatever, fuck it. Move on.
Do you have anything else, Jack?
Nice. I got one more. So I had to go back and watch an old Hammer vampire movie. This one I wasn't sure if I had ever seen before, and I don't think I had once I watched it. I watched The Kiss of the Vampire from 1963. This is a Hammer. It's classic. People in so this one, they're not in a stagecoach. They're in like a early car. It kind of looks like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. It's like an open car, and they're driving in the woods, like I guess in Romania or something like that. Car breaks down. So the husband guy turns to the wife and goes, "Stay in the car. You'll be safe, and I'll go get gas or whatever." And I'm like, "You're in like a convertible. Stay in the car." Like it's not even a convertible. Like there's no sides on it. It was like a dune buggy. Well, there's a castle over in the distance, and somebody's watching him through the castle. This was another. There's a lot of. I love the Hammer vampire movies because there's so many of them are people go off into the woods and end up, or into the mountains or whatever, and they end up at the vampire's lair. It's kind of Spider in the Fly scenario,
right?
This one, there's kind of like a family, and like the father and one of the daughters is a vampire, and there's sort of a vampire cult thing going on. And there's some vampire stuff at the beginning, and then like a long stretch where the main vampire guy, which I think could have been Christopher Lee, but he didn't do the movie, so they got another guy. And so the other guy talks way more than Christopher Lee ever does in Dracula movies.
Yeah, he never.
Maybe that's why he didn't do it. Yeah, it astounds me every time I go back and watch Dracula movies how little he talks.
Mm-hmm.
The plot is really for this vampire to get the woman. So there's really not a whole lot of kills or a whole lot of there's a lot of effort putting into getting this one woman to be like a vampire in the cult or whatever. And then the husband who's fighting first he's oblivious to what's going on, and then once he kind of figures it out, there's this other like townsfolk guy who's the Van Helsing who knows what's going on and is trying to fight the vampires. The ending of this movie is so unconventional. He uses like almost like a black magic spell against the vampires.
What?
That is like this crazy bat-filled ending. That's awesome. Like it's like no other ending of a vampire movie ever. It's got some of the classic Hammer-looking bats and all that other kind of stuff. So not one of my favorite vampire movies by any stretch, but it was one that I hadn't ever seen before, and it was so different. And it did have the classic Hammer, the female vampire in this. Man, the female Hammer movies had the most terrifying female vampires, and this one just because of the menacing looks, menacing yet sexy look. So I was happy to catch one that I had never seen before.
Oh, very nice. I read The Ritual by Adam Neville. which the Netflix movie we did maybe 2 years ago now was based on this novel.
Yeah. Like early
Yeah,
last year.
that might have been a year and a half ago, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Outstanding book. 4 guys get together, old friends, old college friends, to go on a hike out in the mountains of Sweden, in the middle of nowhere. Mountains, forest, whatever. They get lost, and very, very bad things happen to them. This book is actually more intense than the movie, the stuff the guys go through. It's outstanding. Honestly, the only thing I think might scare people away is the third act gets very literary in the writing style. So if like really dense paragraphs bother you, the third act kind of felt like that for me. It didn't detract from me, but I could see it bothering some people. But man, if you like the movie,
did it enhance the movie for you by like learning more about what was going on?
It's a pretty bare bones story in that regard. It's basically the movie. The movie actually made a change in the third act with the creature that I liked more. So yeah, I thought the movie adaptation did a great job of kind of picking and choosing what it should do, particularly in the third act. And no, I think the movie's, it's good. They did a really good job. So great book. Check it out on Amazon. That's where I got it for like $1 a couple weeks ago. I don't know what it is now. Yeah, it was on sale.
Damn.
Cool.
I'm done.
That's criminal.
Excellent. All right. Well, then let's get our cardio in and talk about the meat.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know.
You have to have a favorite. What comes to mind?
All right, fellas. Who wants to tell us about Zombieland Double Tap?
I'll do it.
Go for it.
It's a sequel to Zombieland. Right? Right.
Yep.
So we join our group of people, Tallahassee and whatever other states they're from.
Columbus.
Yeah, whatever. So it's Woody Harrelson, Jeffrey Eisenberg, Emma Stone, and what's her name? The little one.
Oh, God. I'll get back to you.
Oh,
Good Lord.
Abigail Breslin.
I always confuse her with a Fanning. Abigail Breslin. So the four of them
Jesse
are
Eisenberg.
Jesse Eisenberg. What did I say? Jeffrey Epstein. We're going to my island. There's no zombies on the island. So it's years later, I suspect. I never got a clear sense of how.
Yeah, it's a nondescript number of years.
Yeah, so they are existing together. Jeffrey and Emma are boyfriend and girlfriend, kind of. They find the White House. They go stay at the White House. And guess what? There's still zombies out there. But we've learned there are 3 different types of zombies, including my favorite, the Homer, which is like a dopey zombie that can be easily distracted and don't even bother wasting bullets shooting a Homer. So it's very similar to the first in one way. There's nothing really new or crazy in here. But it's kind of like a zombie road movie. Again, a lot of the same beats as the first one. And, they take on some new guest stars. Rosario Dawson, Luke Wilson, kind of cool. And then zombie stuff ensues. There we go.
Nailed it.
Well done. Well done.
Good opening credits, too.
Now, I'm going to tell you what I thought of this movie first, because I'm driving.
Driving privilege.
Sit down back there.
Well, I always have to recap it, and then you never ask me what I think of it after I recap it.
Yeah,
you always go to somebody else, so
your breath.
I'm taking advantage of this. I like this movie. If Zombieland is an A, this is like a B. Like it's more of the same. It's what you wanted, but it's not like Blues Brothers 2000 where they just took the same gags from the first movie and repackaged them. They hit all the familiar beats you wanted to from the first. They did the callbacks, but they never relied on it, and they never did it too heavy-handed. And it was just more of, you wanted to spend more time with these characters, and then they introduced enough new interesting characters that it's a comfortable place to go revisit. And it did enough to entertain me for an hour and a half or whatever. I laughed a lot throughout it. And just like the first Zombieland, I really enjoy it. It's fun when it comes on to leave it on. And this is another one, like a well-done sequel that I welcome into the collection of. It's one of the better. There's so many bad sequels. This is one of the better sequels you're going to find, and the fact that you have a cast of people that all have been like nominated for Academy Awards or won Academy Awards, and they all came back, and they are not slacking off in this movie at all. Everybody's in this 100%, and the new characters I thought were tremendous. We can get into it. So overall, for me, I had a great time with this movie.
Nice. I agree completely. I think you nailed it. If Zombieland's an A, this is a B. And I think you said too, Hunter, hits all the beats. It's very similar, but different enough that it didn't annoy me. Plus, I haven't seen the first Zombieland in a while, so that helped too. But like I said when talking about Ghostbusters, if the movie is funny, I'll forgive a lot of issues. And if you're looking for technical, how are they surviving the apocalypse scenarios? I need to know what Magnum guns they're using and how they're finding water. These are not movies for you. So don't, if that's your bag, you want to know the intricate details, don't watch this because it's not going to do it for you. But if you're looking for a funny zombie movie, this is super spot on. They managed to take a character that would annoy me in any other movie, the blonde ditzy idiot, and I laughed. I thought it was really well done. I enjoyed it. It blew my mind that they made me not hate that character. So I had a good time. And we'll talk later, but they did something with this movie that even if I thought it was just decent, I walked out of the theater like, yep, I had a great time with that.
Well, Zombieland is I think it's probably my wife's second favorite movie of all time. This is on my house. She loves this movie. So I took her to a matinee. I said, look, Zombieland is so good. I said, it can only go down. I didn't think it could succeed and get any better than the first one. But the hardest thing to do in any form is comedy. So I was like, oh boy, I was waiting because the coming attractions for this are terrible. I laughed my ass off in this movie from start to finish. It's so well done. I mean, Jack, you're right. Nobody phoned this in. You got an all-star cast, and they were committed. They were putting it all out there. Somewhere along the line, in the last 10 years, Abigail Breslin became a 50-year-old Midwestern woman. I don't know. She seemed older than Emma Stone, and her voice, Jesus Christ, she's like one of Marge Simpson's sisters now. But it was distracting. Like whenever she talked, I was like, "Oh, Jesus Christ, that's that little girl from."
She doesn't look like Sunshine. A movie star either.
No, she's just hanging out drilling PBRs in the yard and just.
She doesn't have a whole lot of screen time either.
No. But it accomplished everything I wanted it to. It was just funny. It was entertaining. I loved the ditzy girl.
Oh, God, Zoe Deutsch.
She
that
was
should have been
amazing.
The worst character ever. I mean, and it totally works.
Yeah.
It was a layered performance because she was a ditz, but like there were times where people were busting on her. And she would like turn to somebody and be like, "I know he's busting on me."
Yeah,
which like is usually lacks in the dumb blonde stereotype. Like there were times where she knew, but there were other times where I'm like, I should hate this and be like, get out of here. And she just was phenomenal.
Once she appeared, and if she wasn't around, I was like, oh man, I really miss her. It was weird. Rosario Dawson, look, you put her in anything.
Great
I'm in.
All the time.
Luke Wilson was hysterical. That middle ditch guy from the Final Girls.
He was really that's funny. Who that was.
So it was. Yeah,
he's from Silicon Valley too.
Yeah, so good. And then there was a kind of post credits thing that went on that was like, oh my God, hysterical.
So you probably didn't stay, but there's a mid credits and a after the credits.
Really?
Oh, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I looked it up before I went.
Jerks.
So
they turned the lights up, so I thought it was over.
I get my phone out to see if there's a post credits, and when the mid credits started, I was like, "Oh, this must be it." And the one time I don't look at, God damn it, son of a bitch!
It's very quick.
Is it worth staying for? Okay,
you're fine. You'll see it.
Is it as bad as
I'm sure you could find it on YouTube.
Okay.
But the mid-credit scene, oh my god, that was that. We can get into that in spoilers.
That was movie in itself, right there.
Spectacular. I want to get to spoilers because there's a lot of stuff to talk about that we just can't. But one thing I will say for this, kind of the basis of the movie is they've been living together as kind of a family.
Mm-hmm.
Woody Harrelson, who lost his son in the first one, you find out. They don't really dwell on that in this, but instead he's become sort of like a father figure to Abigail Breslin, which made sense as the evolution of his character. And then the whole dynamic of all their relationships is what the movie's all about. And the zombies, they just do a great job of balancing a movie where you're like, well, I want to see zombies, but too much zombies gets boring. Not enough zombies gets boring. And they just knew how to, do the character development, do the comedy, and intersperse the zombies as needed, knowing that there's going to be a big climax that like these movies have. But I thought they did a great job of balancing all the moving parts in this and fleshing out the relationships.
Yeah, I think my only criticism was if there wasn't as much action as the first one. But I liked watching the relationship part anyway. So, because
they weren't teaching us the rules in this one, you know what I mean? They were revisiting the rules, which they did great. But the charm of the first one is getting introduced to the world and all those rules and everything.
Right. Well, you had the new guy. He came up. He had his commandments.
Yeah. Oh, I want to get to that in spoilers.
Yeah.
The other thing I was quickly. I'm sorry. Emma Stone is such a good actress that there were just times where I was watching her in a scene where she wasn't the main person talking, but her facial expressions, she is listening and reacting, and there's like a subtleness to what she's doing that I'm just like, well, damn, she's good.
That's what makes a good actor. The ones who they're not the center of the attention, and they get the attention anyway.
Yeah, she's everyone's amazing in this. I mean, everybody nails it. What you were talking about with the action, that was some of my really only complaints were, particularly in the end. I thought some of it was just like not that interesting. Some of it was really great, but some of it was like, like I felt like there could have been something more there or something different. But again, if you're nailing it with the comedy and I'm watching a comedic film, I can forgive a ton of crap. And when I'm laughing a lot during the movie, I'm happy. So,
Yeah. And I laughed
because I've seen
so
some
much
people picking apart, how are they alive for X amount of years? Why is her hair done up? I'm like, yeah. That's all for, the military style survival apocalyptic scenario. That's not for this. The whole gag is her hair is done and she's still alive and she's an idiot. That's what makes it funny. Calm down. Like, have a beer, watch the movie.
They had a quick line to explain electricity.
Yes, which was something
that's all you needed.
I'm not even and I'm bitching about guys that are doing this. I was like, how the hell do they have power? What's going on here? And
everyone had power. There was no shortage. Well, they did mention it. Good thing we're getting so much rain and the dams are giving us power. That's fine. But if you're picking apart this movie, check yourself. It's a fucking zombie movie. It has no basis in reality.
Well, I mean, look, I totally get that.
Back.
People that read my books, the apocalyptic books, man, they freaking fact check every little thing I do. I get that that's out there, and I try to do my best to nail that. But when you're just doing a comedy, you got to have more leeway for it. You've got to just enjoy the jokes if they're funny. And these were funny as hell.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they were.
The other thing that struck me about this movie is, well, I guess in general, Jesse Eisenberg is one of these people that I think in a movie you either love him or hate him. And I love him in Zombieland. And then you watch Justice League or whatever the heck with Batman versus Superman as him as Lex Luthor, and you're like, oh, he's so annoying. He's just he's perfect in some movies and he's grating on you in other movies. But he's a very talented guy. But
he's like Woody Allen. He's just this neurotic guy. That's his thing.
I wanted to mention too, the humor in this is 2009 was a very different world when Zombieland came out, particularly when it comes to comedy. Mm-hmm. Comedy is very PC and safe now. And I really appreciated the shit that was coming out of Woody Harrelson's mouth in this movie. They wrote it like a 2009 comedy in that way. They just, whatever shit came to his mind that was offensive and ridiculous, he said it. And I just wanted to applaud that. It was, thank you. Thank you.
Like it's like
Yeah, Woody
hanging around
Harrelson's
with me.
MVP. He's MVP
just
of this
great
movie.
in it.
Okay, so we're all thumbs upping it. You ready for spoilers?
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. If you haven't seen Zombieland and you don't want to be spoiled, get out now. Go see it. It's good.
Do you prefer Nut Up or Shut Up or Let's Kick Some Dicks?
I love what she's like. Just because it rhymes doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Luke Wilson and Middleditch? Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
That is my favorite part of that movie. Oh my God, those two as the doppelgangers is I'm tempted to just buy that Blu-ray just so I can watch that scene over and over again from when they show up to when they're gone. Is that movie, like, the movie was really good, I was enjoying it, then that happened and I was like, no matter what happens in this movie, I had that.
Yeah.
And it was just hilarious.
And they didn't overstay their welcome.
Yeah.
They cut it at just the right moment, leaving you wanting a little more. I thought that was
Apparently,
awesome.
Well, they kill him, and so that adds stakes to it. So it served the plot.
apparently
as
there
well.
was a ton
Right.
more footage of that, and they ended up having to cut a bunch out so they didn't overdo it. But I'd be curious on a Blu-ray to see some of that. I bet
Right.
there's some good stuff in there.
Yeah, they were great.
I did want to mention that the trailers for this, I should have done this pre-spoiler, but I was not excited to see this movie. I thought the trailers were crap.
No, you weren't.
They made the annoying blonde character look like just an annoying blonde character. They made the doppelgangers look like a stupid plot point that wasn't interesting. And both of those, when I see them in the movie, they were fantastic. But the trailers, only the first one. I did not see the last couple, which apparently spoiled the Bill Murray thing, which is freaking crazy. Why would you do that?
Oh my God.
I didn't see that. I knew he was going to be in it because of
I looked it up to see if that was
spoiled.
spoiled, and it was. Before it came out, I guess the last trailer showed Bill Murray. I'm like, are you out of your fucking mind?
That's horrible.
The trailers for this were just not good. But I'm so glad that it ended up proving me wrong. But was it last week I was bitching about going to see this? Like, I was just not excited.
Yeah,
I was psyched to see this movie. Like I thought the trailers didn't turn me off.
I was resigned to seeing it. Because I know how difficult comedy is to do, and to pull it off twice is it's monumental.
It's tough. Comedy changes so much.
Yeah.
So.
By the way, they didn't change much. At least 3 of the 4 of them.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. It's like Emma Stone lost some weight, and Jesse Eisenberg looks exactly
Woody
the
Harrelson
same, and
hasn't
Woody
aged
Harrelson
in 30
looks
years.
exactly the same.
I do not understand it. What is that dude doing?
Well, because he looked old immediately once he
Maybe that's
lost
what
his
it
hair, so now he's just growing into himself.
And Rosario Dawson hasn't aged either. She's looked the same the past 15 years.
She could be dropping right out of Sin City.
She was a perfect casting. Like her and Woody Harrelson had amazing chemistry. Like,
yes,
they nailed. Zoe Deutsch, as we said, as the ditzy one. I knew she wasn't dead when he took her out of the woods. That was such a callback to The Sopranos. I don't know if you picked that up, but when he's like walking through the woods, it was like when Adriana got whacked. It was like right out of that.
I was like, you can't kill her.
It was an off-screen death, and the way
funny.
they threw the purse out and everything, and they showed her eating nuts, so it was like they super telegraphed it. And thank God, because when they see her driving the ice cream truck, that's just great.
By the way, did you get the whole vibe of this is a conservatives will survive way better than liberals in the apocalypse?
I didn't really
movie?
take it like that, but I took it as a shitting on hippies thing for sure.
Hippies in Berkeley and fucking peace loving. I'll take your guns. We took your guns from you. The whole kind of thing. I thought, oh man, this was hippies are in now. But I thought that was kind of cool.
See, this is where I'm like, I let shit slide, but the writer in me is watching this thinking, shouldn't the hippie of commune have taken over Elvis's place? Because that would have made Woody Harrelson just lose his goddamn mind. That hippie, like the hippie commune is in his Graceland. It's in his heaven. Like that would have just been so perfect. So it was one of those things where it's like, oh, guys, no. But, it was
They
funny.
needed a tower.
That's right.
Before we do anything else, I have to talk about this Bill Murray thing. That was the best 3 minutes of anything I've seen all year. Can we get a whole movie of Bill Murray smashing zombies? Because
when they put on the
Oh my
Caddyshack
God.
music, oh my
Bill
God.
Murray just destroying zombies to Kenny Loggins is the greatest thing ever. I want to put that on the loop in my office.
And by the way, I love when he was being interviewed on the press junket for Garfield 3, and one of them goes, "Why Garfield 3?" And he says, drugs cost a lot of money.
Oh, how about the part where Rosario Dawson is like, "Oh, I got murrayed."
Yeah.
What's that? I heard that Bill Murray was murdered. Oh, I have no idea. I never heard of that before. I was laughing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, so funny.
By the way, if we did this show in 2009, we'd be saying the exact same thing about when Bill Murray showed up in the first one. Just
Oh
stole
yeah,
the
we
show.
reviewed that. We were talking about that in Monster Man. How great that moment was. That's the best cameo, like ever.
Yeah, ever.
Bill
I
Murray.
can't
Is this
imagine
the
anyone
second
is
best
better than
ever?
that.
I mean, it's amazing. He's not a part of the movie per se of the story, but oh my God.
Oh, they pulled
This
it off
one's-
perfect.
Yeah, this one's funnier. Like the first one was cool to see him in it. This was
It's the
way
best
funnier.
mid-roll scene ever, I think. Like, this is better than anything Marvel did, I think. This was so good. That guy is a
Yeah.
freaking national treasure. Just,
It's really not even like a mid-credit scene. It's like another scene, a whole scene in a movie. Like it's long. So
oh my God. I was leaving the
was
movie
awesome.
thinking, that was good. I enjoyed it. I got some laughs out of it. And then that happened. And I was just leaving the theater, just all smiles. And I just was like, God, that was so perfect. Because I left the theater thinking, man, they just hit it out of the park. It elevates the whole movie.
Right. Oh. Everybody walked out happy. At my theater, it was like practically high-fiving each other.
When he's
we walked
killing,
out.
is it Roker? He's like, I'm a big fan. Why he's smashing his head? Oh,
Awesome.
the only thing this movie really didn't do a lot of was they introduced the different kinds of zombies. Then they only really referenced them, besides the T-800s, when they're on the bus fighting. There's like,
Right.
oh, there's a Hawking, and I don't even know if they talk about the
No.
ninjas.
Yeah, the
right.
ninjas didn't get much play at all.
So I felt like there might be something cut. But I love that scene on the bus because it kind of shows that they've evolved into better fighters.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the kind of thing I thought they could have done better. with.
and
Like,
it-
the whole ending, that didn't really feel like a thing. It just felt like they were surrounded by zombies, and the monster truck scene to me saved the ending because that shit was hilarious.
Oh my God.
But the rest of all that action was
Yeah.
just like, whatever, no big deal. It didn't really do much for me.
You know what's funny?
There's a
When they-
moment that. God.
when they were on that the platform and they were just gonna die, I'm thinking, you know what? This is where Hunter Shea would just kill them and say, "The end, motherfuckers." I definitely
I
would have
was
done it. I'm
wondering
glad
if
they didn't.
I was wondering if they were going to kill Woody Harrelson just to.
There were a couple of moments there.
Yeah.
Now, would you want to see another one?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, the third movie is never good, so it will piss me off, I'm sure. But I had fun with this. I want more.
Here's the deal. In the third one, the girls cannot run
Yeah,
off.
we've had enough of that.
Yeah.
We can't do this a third time.
There's a part of me that wants him to do another one, and another part of me that says, leave well enough alone.
I would have said that if I didn't. I think I laughed more in this one than the first one. So if you can make me laugh, do it.
The long layoff, a lot of people are like, why didn't they do this earlier? But I think maybe you might have forgot how much you laughed in the first one because it's been so long since you first saw that movie.
True.
Because that movie was really funny. And so it's been so long and this was fresh enough that it brought like new stuff to the table. So you got like another great experience out of it. I bet you if you watch them back to back, you'd be like, oh, I forgot how funny this first one was.
I do like the narration, Jesse Eisenberg, on the beginning, telling about all your choices that are out there to watch zombie things and thanking us for watching.
Or when he's
It's
in
almost like
bed
an
and he's got,
apology.
He's got the Walking Dead comic book. And he's like, this is so unrealistic.
Yeah, they did good nods to how much zombie culture has overtaken us. I thought they did a good job of that. And look, we got a zombie thing that all three of us enjoyed in 2019. That's unheard of.
That'll never happen again. Yep. And we got a movie you enjoyed.
How about the part where the ditzy girl describes
that was great.
Uber?
Everyone's like, you idiot.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was really well done.
Yeah.
Oh,
I would go see that again in the theater.
So would I.
I
am looking forward to seeing this movie again. It was a lot of fun. And good job by everybody.
Now, Jack and I will be at Chiller Theater this weekend. If there's a movie theater nearby playing Zombieland 2, do you think that will be sold out in 5 minutes from the crowd in the area?
I don't think so. I think the people who go to Chiller are not there to go to the movies.
Maybe we can test this out. If any of us is sober enough to drive.
That's what Uber is for.
Uber!
I think it should be a thing where people just pick up other people who need rides. You just call them on the internet.
I'd leave you a 5-star review. Didn't try to kill me, or a 0-star. Tried to kill me.
Oh my god!
So much better than
great
than I was thinking it was going to be. Really happy with this one.
Top 5 on the list for the year.
I don't know where this is. I'm gonna have to think about that. It's definitely top 10 for sure.
Yeah, it's up
there. Show. All right, so next week we are going to watch Crawl, which is on VOD these days. The alligator. Hunter Shea approved, and the rest of us will catch up. And I've heard good things.
So we know
who'll
actually watch the main feature this week.
But that's next week. Yeah. But that's next week. So in the meantime, everybody, please share our link, give us a review, all the stuff that helps the podcast. We appreciate it. Anything else before we get out of here?
Yeah, if you guys like podcasts, you might want to try another one out called Invitation into the Abyss. I mean, Into the Abyss, not Invitation into the Abyss. Into the Abyss podcast. It's kind of new. If you like horror, you're going to like it.
Go check out my I almost said final guys. My So Bad It's Good. Disco Godfather. I think you'll like it.
I'll be watching that when I sign off.
Monster Man Halloween. All right, everybody. Nut up or shut up.
Bye.
See you next week.